Hey, welcome to another edition of Rise Up Youth Empowerment. I'm one of your hosts, Eugene Reed. This is my co-host,
Harold Lyons. How's it going?
All right, listen, this week we want to discuss something that's sort of pressing in our community. And when I say our community, I'm not just talking about the Black community. I'm talking about the New York City community, all communities. And that's the relationship between the community and the NYPD. Yes, New York City Police Department.
Yes, and it affects every culture. Doesn't matter whether you're Black, white, Hispanic, Jewish, wherever walk of life you come from, the police affects each and every one of us.
And every action with the NYPD does not necessarily have to be a negative reaction. And every action with them is not always a negative reaction. But we would like to address how to turn your interaction with the police department into a positive as opposed to a negative.
Exactly. I mean, you got to think about it when it comes to police officers. You know, they have a stressful job and they work, some officers work maybe 9 hours, maybe even 10 hours a day. And, you know, at the end of the day, they just want to get home to their family. Like as me and you, we want to get home to our families. So, you know, you got to take that within mind, keep that focus on when you come across an officer. Try to be patient. Don't always jump into an anger mode when they approach you about an incident.
Right.
Whether you was involved or not, you got to give the officer a chance to express himself without having attitude.
And one way for you to get out of that situation safely, let's just say safely, right, is to have a respectful interaction with the police officer. Yes, officer, how can I help you today? My name is, whatever your name is. May I see your identification? Why, sure, officer. Just show them your identification, you know? You don't have to, what you want to see my ID for? I didn't do nothing.
Right. I mean, sometimes, you know, you might have, you know, some concern and you want to know why this officer is approaching you and asking you for your ID. You got to, you know, accept for what it is and just be like, you know, officer, how can I help you? My ID is present. I show it to you. You see who I am. Is something wrong? I mean, ask questions. It's okay to ask questions, but just don't be belligerent, you know, when it comes to interaction with community police officers.
Because we want you guys to get home safe, you know, whether you're coming from work, whether you're coming from school, whether you're coming from, you know, playing some basketball, tennis, whatever it is. We would like for everyone to get home safe. And you do got to understand that the police officer's job is a stressful job.
Yes, it is. Very stressful. You know, I, as young coming up in my community, and I grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn. And, you know, back in the early, let's say 80s, I mean, it was tough times. And, you know, I often have been pulled over by police officers. And I'm sitting here today, obviously everything went well with those interactions because I knew at that time, you know, how to, you know, respect myself and give the respect to the officer. At the end of the day, you know, you got to say, okay, you know, the community that we live in is always something going on. They police our communities. You know, we might have some officers that might take a little bit of their, let's say, policing a little bit to the extreme. But every officer does not wear their badge as, you know, type of individual where they want to be physical with you at all times. So when I was coming up, again, like I mentioned, you know, I came across all types of police officers, and I knew how to conduct myself.
The good,
the bad,
and the ugly.
I tell you. So, listen, it is essential on your character, okay? And you know, you want to be respectful. You want to get home at the end of the day, like Brother Eugene just mentioned. And there's one most important thing that you should always remember. You know, at maybe some point in time, you probably wanted to be a police officer yourself. Let's think about that for a second. And maybe you probably went out and took the test. Maybe you didn't get pulled into the academy, but you did respected that position as a possible position for you to maintain. And for what it's worth, here we are.
And you know what's crazy, right? You have an interaction with a police officer and it doesn't go right. You're angry, he's angry, right? And I know this from experience, right? That the interaction doesn't go as smooth as it should. Tempers rise, but calm head prevails, right? And you get to go home. That individual got to go home and also went back to their job. And 3 days later, that officer saved that individual's life.
Oh yeah, those are beautiful stories. We hear it from time to time, how some officers, probably stopped you in a situation that you could have walked into a situation and it could have been detrimental. You don't know the outcome when you have an interaction with an officer. It either could save your life, doesn't matter where you was heading that day, and something happened seconds after the officer had stopped you in your tracks and questioned you, and then he had to go and take off and deal with another situation. Yep. And it could have been a block away from where he stopped you at. So you got to think, and sometimes it might have its advantages and its disadvantages. But again, just show that you can be calm, cool, and collective.
Most definitely.
And that's all you have to be.
I know, all the stories that push the Black Lives the Black Lives Matter movement forward. All of the unarmed death that rained down on the black community is enough to make you say, F the police. And like Brother Eugene just said, yes, some of our communities have not been, treated fairly. Correct.
When it came to policing. However, you got to think in terms of, what we do in our own communities, why some officers might have that fear. Think about it. You go to work 9 to 5. You have to get on a train to get to your job. And if the transportation system is not safe for you, you're going to be on edge because you're not sure if you're going to be able to make it there and get to work safely. And it's just the same attitude that a police officer have when he's out policing our communities, whether it's the Bronx, whether it's Brooklyn, whether it's Queens, whether it's Staten Island, whether it's Long Island. It doesn't matter from where you come from. If that officer has to go into a community where we are fighting amongst each other, I wouldn't want to use the term animals, but let's be realistic. It's not, healthy for us to be that way. So here you have someone policing your community. What do you think is how he or she going to really feel? So you got to really think about the pressure that they have, not only being a police officer, but policing our communities. Because again, it is tough in any situation.
New York City is such a beautiful place, man. And there's so many opportunities to get help. You have the community council people like Miss Darlene Mealy. You have the assembly people like Miss Latrice Walker out of Brownsville, Brooklyn.
Exactly.
That are here to help you with housing, employment, education.
Yep.
That's right. And they have the community affairs department within the precincts within our community, right? That's trying to interact with the community and build relationships.
Yes.
Positive relationships.
That's right. The community leaders, they're in a position to see that the police officers in our community treat us fairly. Okay, so if there's any issues, you got the complaint review board, number one. You got your city council, men and women.
Yes.
Assembly women.
Yes.
You always look through your district, whether it's in Brownsville, whether your district is Flatbush, whether your district is East New York. There are some office within that community that interacts, the assembly offices, city council offices that constantly interact with the police officers, precincts within those same communities. So you, as a person, if you have any complaints when it comes to stop and frisk, which they don't do no more, but again, some of us do get approached and they do ask you if they feel that you fit a description, or they don't got a call that someone that fits you fits their description, they pull you over, they stop you. If you feel that you've been stopped and you felt that that was not legal, you can go down to the City Complaint Review Board, which is located, if I'm not mistaken, in Manhattan off of Chambers Street.
Yep.
And furthermore, you also, again, you can go to your city councilman and also make note and explain to them what happened. And they will address it at their board meetings when it comes to them sitting down at that round table, as they might call it, to express the concerns of the community.
Yeah, because Rise Up Youth Empowerment is about empowering the youth in our community. And when you say the youth, we mean from,
From
10
teenagers, yeah.
to, 30, because even at 30 years old, you're still a young person. You're a responsible young adult, but you're still young, right? So what we're trying to do is empower the community, right? We want you to rise up from where you're at and become all you could be.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And there's just so much to do within this community to help rise up and to build up each other,
Exactly.
There are teenagers and young adults out there that have employment opportunities they're looking for, that we can steer you in the right direction to meet people in that field.
Yeah, and you have, like your brother Eugene just mentioned, as far as young men and women that are out in our communities. Every individual is not in our community doing mischievous or bad things.
Of course not.
There are some good young men and women who are elevating themselves,
yes,
who are getting involved,
yes,
who are walking the pavement, yeah, when it comes to either police brutality or this the gangs in our community that is flooded, the drugs and terrorizing decent neighbors. You have people on that front line when it comes to the Black Lives Matter or just any culture. When it comes to crime and just turmoil in their community, people are out there fighting. And the young youth are doing it, and they are doing it in a responsible way.
Impacting young people, impacting other young people, impacting other young people. I love to say this, man. You can't fly with eagles. You can't soar with eagles if you're hanging with turkeys. And you have to utilize all the access to the political power that you have in your communities. You have to know your community council people. You have to know your district leaders. You have to know your assembly people.
That's right.
You have to know who's representing you in the New York City Senate.
That's right.
Everybody knows the mayor of New York. That's right? But it's important to know your community council person.
And politics is very important. You might not hear it enough. When I say it's very important, you got to get out and vote.
Oh, yes.
I think every young person's vote is very important because for these laws are being changed. You got Republicans, you got Democrats. They're fighting over voting rights, citizen rights.
Yes.
And they're making it hard. Some leaders in our community are making it hard for you to go to the voting polls. What do? You don't let that deter you from voting. I mean, we came from a 4-year of a man, and Donald Trump. Let's just put it out there. We don't want to see that again. We don't want to see that again. Okay, so I mean, he opened up the Pandora box, as I say.
Yes.
Because I don't know what he meant by, but I only have my own imagination when he said making America great again. I mean, I don't think we ever lost our greatness. Okay, it's just that you kind of like deterred. I mean, for his presidency to be so, let's say,
divisive.
Dividing, right? You divide a country, even at the time of a pandemic, when we should have been more together. He dismantled the crisis virus agency that Obama,
CDC?
right? When they was at the borders and they was checking people before they came into the United States. And as soon as he got in office, what did he do? This Donald Trump person, he dismantled that unit, okay? And then now we get flooded with this virus, okay, from wherever it came from, China, Europe. I mean, I'm not trying to say
down anyone.
You know what I'm saying? Because wherever it came from, we it's unfortunate that we had to deal with it, and we are still today
2 years later.
You know what I'm saying? So what I mean by your vote, always, you know, talk to your neighbor, your neighboring friends, your fellow and you know, partners or friends that you associate with in your community, because let them understand how important that vote is. Because you see what happened, you know, when Biden became the president. Even though Donald Trump had over 70 million votes, but it wasn't enough because he didn't win. Okay, I mean, President Trump had over 70 million votes, but it wasn't enough because Biden won, excuse me. So think about that vote, that Democratic vote, how strong it was during that presidency.
And think about how many people's lives were lost fighting for the right to vote, right? And we just take it for granted. We don't even vote, right? I mean, people gave their lives so we can have the opportunity to vote for things like, you know, integration, better housing, better employment opportunities, you know, for us to be judged on our character and not our color, you know? And this is not just for African Americans, this is for anyone who's, you know, Hispanics have been discriminated against, Asians have been discriminated against, you know, Catholics, you know what I'm saying?
That's right. It's across the board.
Yes, man. You know, so voting right is so very important.
And when I say, now look at the electoral vote. Okay, that's just a certain state. I think it's like Pennsylvania, Florida, Atlanta, or Georgia. What else?
Missouri. I'm thinking it's Missouri, somewhere in the Midwest. I'm not sure.
Okay, but with these electoral votes, this is what basically determines who's going to be the president. You know, and Biden won it across the board, which was a success for him and the Democratic Party. But imagine if we were still in Donald Trump reign of presidency. You know, we would have it. I believe it would be a lot worse than than what Biden had to deal with coming in. So now he's trying to build that bridge to get us back to being respected, even with certain governments. You know, a lot of the times that Donald Trump did some things in different countries, it backfired because his whole persona was not how would I say
conducive.
It definitely it wasn't taken seriously.
It wasn't conducive to the growth and the health of the American people. You know what I'm saying?
Or even the economy.
Or the economy.
So
you know?
I mean, think about that vote. Exercise your vote at any means necessary. And
we just want you guys to continue to rise up, to be empowered, to know that you have choices, and those choices are many things. It's how you interact with people that will get you the results that you want.
Exactly.
When I was growing up, there was a saying: you get more with honey than you get with doo-doo. You know what I'm saying?
More with honey than you get more with milk.
You know what I'm saying? You get more with honey than you get more with respect than you get with disrespect in your interactions with police officers, your neighbors.
Yes.
So nobody's saying that you got to be an angel, because nobody's an angel.
Right.
I'm just saying, think. When you find yourself in situations, how can you intelligently resolve the situation so you can get the results that you want?
Yeah, you gotta think in terms of, you know, what's working for you and your family members and your community.
Yes.
So that's key. With all jokes aside, but honestly, it's like really just think how important your vote is, and you will see the outcome. You know, we have like a black woman for the first time being elected into the
vice presidency.
Well, not only the vice presidency, and the other
Supreme Court Justice.
Supreme Court Justice.
Yes.
You see how times is changing, you know, and then you have, I know former President Obama,
right,
and former First Lady Michelle.
Obama.
You know, right? She never used to say, at least rarely, random that I hear her say, the White House. she used to call the White House the People's House.
Ah, the People's House.
And see, and you got to think about that. You know what I'm saying? Let's change that name. You know, because I think that this United States of America is so diverse. How can we still be sticking with that name, the White House? Look at that word. Think about it. We could restructure it and have our government name it the People's House. It's a vote amongst everyone.
That's deep. That's deep. You know, it's just, once again, I just love to see the impact that we have amongst the youth of our communities. You know what I'm saying? I just love to see you young guys and girls rise up and become empowered and achieve your dreams and your aspirations. You know, and that's what this program is all about. Giving you the information. Giving you the information to rise up and to be empowered.
And it's time. And you know, we done been through the trenches. You know, our ancestors, our parents went marching and, you know, for what we have today.
Yes, yeah.
And we got to continue that fight. You know, it is as sad as it is. We have to fight because they're not going to just give us anything.
No.
This government is not going to give you anything.
And when we say fighting, we're not meaning with your fist. We're meaning with your mind.
And your vote.
You know, and your vote and your heart. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. So those are the struggles, those are the fights, those are the tools that you use to get your point across. You force these politicians to work the way you want them to work, or we vote them out of office. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. So believe us. Believe in yourself. Moving forward this day, ask yourself, what do you expect from your politicians? How do you want them to work for you?
Because they do work for you. They work for you. Who are your political leaders in your community that can help you get the things that you want? Better housing, better education, better food, better employment. Yeah. Who are the people that's in the position to help you get these things? And once you meet them, you network with them, they think you'll be that person in the position.
Show them your concerns.
To help the community achieve their dreams and their aspirations.
That's right. Let them know what's on your mind. Whether it's rent control, whether it's inflation, whether it's gas prices going up, food prices going up. And listen to what I'm saying. And you know, most of our jobs, you know, I know there's a lot of viewers out there that work. And most of the jobs that we work, you're not getting any you know, not regularly. You're not getting enough the way it's going to keep up with inflation.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
You're putting more than what you're bringing in out. You're putting more out than what you're bringing in. So you're struggling like every other middle class or every other family that's, you know, out there that's, you know, are struggling to make ends meet. And you're not getting nothing extra. So you got to focus and get these politicians to hear your cries.
Because I was just watching a program on, this program on Sunday mornings on Channel 7, and there's a young man who grew up in the projects in the Bronx. And he became a community activist. He became a city council member. He became a city assembly member, and now he's a senator in Washington, D.C., representing the community that he came from the Bronx.
And that's all about networking.
Yeah, it's all about getting to know
your voice out there.
Your people in your community and having them take your back and put you in a position to help them.
That's right, to help yourself. It's just going to it's going to help you too, because once you put that person in that position, they're forever in debt because they know that you're believing in their fight.
Enough.
And they know that
they're fighting for you.
Have their back. And that's what's important. And again, like Eugene just mentioned, they're fighting for you. That's key.
I just want you guys to know that you are empowered to achieve your dreams and your aspirations. You have the power within you. You know, and you just need to rise up and continue to rise up and push forward, you know, to achieve the dreams and the goals that you set for yourself, your family, your friends, and your community, because you are powerful.
That's right.
We believe in you.
That's right.
We know that you got what it takes to get to your next level.
That's right. You know, we are a race of people that we can accomplish anything. And it has been. History done proven that already. You know, you have so many obstacles that
we've overcome.
That you got to overcome. That we have overcome.
Yeah,
and
we've overcome.
we're not finished yet. Because, you know, we're still a young nation. You know, we're still forever evolving. So, people, our viewers out there, think about what's important. Apply those principles. And make sure that you put people in government, in those positions. If there are people there, force their hand. If they don't do what we expect them to do, our vote that's how we use our vote.
It brought to mind. It brought to mind something that
to break them down. That's bottom line.
It brought to mind something I saw on a show I was watching. Spike Lee said, "Get them out of there. They not representing you the way you feel you need to be represented. Get them out of there, because there's somebody who wants to do that job and do that job correctly to represent you in our political fields." You know, as young people, one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about was, your financial future and how to build your financial future. You know, that's very important. To be able to get a savings account, start learning how to put some money aside for retirement.
Yeah.
Because before you know it,
don't forget to mention the building your credit.
Oh, it's very important, building your credit. You know, because you deserve home ownership.
Yep.
You deserve the automobile of your dreams. You deserve to go on a vacation of your dreams.
That's right.
You know, you deserve to take your guy or your lady out to the restaurant of your dream, to a Broadway play, to a basketball game, a football game. But you'll never be able to do these things if your finances are not in order.
Has to be in order. You have to be able to put something away, not only just so you can enjoy life, but just have something put aside for a rainy day. Because you never know, you might need to put money in something to either get you out of a situation. Okay, so, and I'm not meaning it has to be a negative situation, just so you can be able to invest in something, or maybe you might see something you want, but you have enough money to make it happen.
Yes.
I think like that. Really, it's important. So yeah, your financial investments, just make sure you make the right choices. You get a job and you get into a decent company, which they might provide you with a 401k plan.
What's a 401k plan?
Hey, a 401k plan is a way to either invest your money and it could grow into money marketing,
yes,
or you could either just have it where that it would just increase without being
taxed.
Well, yes.
Pre-tax.
Well, it won't get taxed until you touch it,
right,
but nonetheless, it can grow interest. Okay, or you can have it in a money market where you can play with some stocks and bonds. If
yes,
you're that type of person where you can, take that advantage. You don't have to take the whole 100%. You could break it down to like 10% in this market, 10% in that market, and you never know. If you keep your eye on the economy and you see where it's going, there's a possibility that you can earn something in those money markets.
There's also the thing called an ESOP, the employee stock option, where your company, they give you invest.
And they match your dollars?
Yeah, they go 25%. You invest $1, they invest $1.25. It may be more today, but these are the options and things to learn about, right?
Exactly.
As you try to build your financial future as a young person, because you don't want to be where you were at 30, where you were at 20 financially.
Right.
In that 10-year span, you should at least have some savings.
Exactly. And then when you get to you're almost near your retirement, you want to make sure you have money that when you retire, you're just not dependent on Social Security. Your pension is possibly there if you got a job that's invested in a pension, and you have maybe, like I said just a moment ago, a 401k plan where you're going to have just as much as you probably can have in your pension in your 401k plan.
And one of the tools to learning about the financial, the way to grow your finances is to network.
Oh, of course.
With people who are in that field.
Of course.
You may have an aunt or uncle or a cousin who's a professional, and talk to them about how do I grow my finances.
Exactly.
That uncle who has his own home, he has to fly his car in the neighborhood, or you have an aunt who take these extravagant vacations.
Exactly.
Speak to them about how to grow your finances.
That's right. You have someone that you might be, like Eugene just mentioned, about someone in the family that, that already worked for, up until retirement, where they was able to, invest their money, you know what I mean? And they living comfortably, they got their 401k, they have their pension.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They have their social security.
3 streams of income.
Exactly. And they maintain it. And they traveling and they doing the things that they deserve.
Enjoying their retirement,
exactly. Right? A lot of us don't get to retirement, but those who make it, there's someone that we know that can, help you along the way with your finances. So don't never be ashamed to ask someone about what it took for them to retire and live comfortable.
That's right.
Those are the people that we could take advantage of if we want to know about how to set up, our future.
Yes. So listen, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in this week to this episode of Rise Up Youth Empowerment. We're here too.
We are here to give you information that will help you be successful. And once again, just think about what we are saying, and there's, a lot that you can learn from. I mean, as our viewers, we work for you.
We work for you. Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
So please, always can reach out to us. Remember, Rise Up Youth Organization at gmail.com.
Once again, that's Rise Up Youth Organization at gmail.com.
So think about, stay in tune, listen for our next episode.
And always rising up. Peace. We're out.